Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing the long-awaited brow routine because I have completely changed up my brow routine over the past while. It's been a while. I was like die hard for years. The laminated brow gel look got to be gluing them suckers down, super dramatic, super fluffy, sticking straight up brows, and I loved it. And you guys loved it. Like, it was so highly requested. It's like some of my most viewed videos on TikTok is my brow routine. And I started slowly stepping away from the gluing them down look, and I can't go back. Anytime I do, I think they look terrible on me. So we just do a standard brow routine of we fill them in and we add some brow gel. They're thinner looking than before, but they're thicker than I naturally have because I do not have good brows, okay? You're gonna see in a second, they're not that great. So if you wanna see how I've been doing my brows, then just keep on watching. We are starting with absolutely nothing on our skin right now, and this is the #1 recommendation that I have when it comes to doing your brows is to do it on completely clean skin. We are not doing our skincare, we are not doing any other makeup, we are not doing anything except cleansing our skin before doing brows. Reason being, we want to remove any sort of product, any sort of oil buildup, anything that's going to interfere with the brow products like adhering to the skin. And if you are using products that are waterproof but you are putting them over like an SPF or something like that, they're not going to be waterproof anymore. You are mixing them with another product. So clean skin, very, very important. The products that you'll need are definitely going to vary. I do use 3 different products when it comes to shaping my brows, and I will tell you why. The amount of products that you'll need is really going to vary on how much are you changing your brow shape. If you're sticking to your natural brow shape and you have natural brow hair, you're going to need very minimal products versus if you are completely changing the shape, you're adding a lot to it, then you're going to need more products to make the areas that you're filling in look like the areas that you have the hair. And then obviously if you have no hair, you're going to need more products to make it look like realistic and hair-like. So the products that I use for the bulk of filling in the brows, I take the Anastasia Brow Wiz in the shade medium brown. I do like the Anastasia ones because they don't move around a lot. I do like the NYX one as well, but I find with the NYX one, if I wear like long fake lashes and it touches the skin where I have the product, it sometimes can remove it, versus the Anastasia one, I don't find that that happens. But any just standard skinny pencil is what you'll need for the bulk of the brow. And then any areas that I'm filling in that I don't actually have hair, so I'll make this like a lot thicker and a lot straighter. I will then go in with the NYX brow pen in the shade ash brown. This I love because it's not too pigmented, and I will just add a couple hair-like strokes. It just kind of makes that area match the area above that I have natural hair. And I personally, this is why I use a 3rd product, I like to bring my brows a little bit closer in because I do find that they're a little bit too far apart, and I don't like the look of using the brow pen on the inner part. I feel like it looks too harsh, it looks too not realistic. But you can absolutely use the brow pen if you don't want to use another product. But for me, I have fallen in love with the nano pencils. Any brand will do, as long as it is these super teeny tiny nano pencils. I'll just do a couple hair strokes in the front with this pencil. This specifically is the Morphe one in the shade Cold Brew, but I think Java might be a better match, but Cold Brew is not bad. So let's get into the actual filling in of the brow. So the first thing that I do is I will brush my brows to the shape that I want them in. I don't really do anything to my brows. They genuinely just do not grow. I used to trim them a lot whenever I was doing like the laminated brow look because obviously I was sticking the hair straight up, but I'm not doing that anymore, so I let them be. They just don't grow, so it is what it is. So when it comes to my brows specifically, I feel like they're pretty full all through here, and then it just has this big dip upwards. I don't like that. I am just pretending basically that this line was to keep going, and we're gonna fill all of that in. So we're gonna take the Anastasia Brow Wiz, and hopefully I can see what I'm doing because I'm so far away from my mirror. And I'm doing very light pressure. I'm not doing one big line, I'm doing tiny little lines. And again, we're just gonna pretend that this line was to just keep going. So we're just kind of filling this area in, and then I'm just gonna get it to the thickness that I want. So I feel good about that, but now you can see that there's kind of a weird, like sharp angle here. We're going to drag it down like that. You can already see the shape is getting a little bit more cohesive. And when I tell you I'm barely touching the skin, I'm barely touching the skin because I want this to look so light on the skin and not like I heavily filled in the brow, even though I am. And then I'll always extend the tail a little bit, and then I'll kind of fill in the top of that tail. I'm just going to lightly make this thicker. So you can see on this brow, it's very thin right here, and this is a little bit more structured, a little bit more full. So again, it's like I'm continuing this line until it meets the arch of my brow, and then I'm angling it down, and then I'll just lightly fill it in. Now, how much you fill in your brow is going to completely depend on how much you need to fill in your brow. So for me, it's really just the bottom of my brow. I don't like to fill in the top of it. Even when I did like the laminated brow look, I don't like to fill in the top of my brow because I feel like that makes it look too structured. So I like the bottom to be structured and the top to be like more fluffy. And sometimes with this brow, I don't know, it's just like the way that I sleep, but sometimes the arch of this one can look a little bit thinner than the other. So I will very, very lightly touch the top arch of that just to make it more even. Here is what we're working with right now. And I do feel like when I don't have any makeup on and it's just the brows, like I feel good about this. I wouldn't need to like bring them closer together. But I do feel like when I have a full face of makeup on, like there really is a lot of space right here between the brows. I did a brow stroke with the Anastasia on this side and then the Morphe on this side. And you can just see the Morphe is significantly skinnier. I also don't like using the nano pencils for the entire brow because you run out of the product really, really quickly. So that's why I used to. So this one I definitely need my mirror for. So what I do, I pretty much do like 2 to 3 hair strokes. I find that I do 3 on this one, 2 on this one. But I will just take that pencil so I'll do 1 there, 1 there, and then I'll just kind of adjust them. And then sometimes I'll do a 3rd, again, if I feel like there's a little bit of like a disconnect between the fake hair and the real hair. And then I'll always take the spoolie and blend out the bottom of that. So you can just see, I brought that in just a little bit, but that's literally like it as far as like the shaping. Now with the NYX pen, anywhere that I filled in that I don't have hair, so pretty much the bottom, I'm going to go in with that pen and just add some hair-like strokes. This really makes a difference in person. You can see a little bit more dimension in person. It just makes them look a little bit more realistic. And I do like to use the pen to accentuate the tail. Okay, so I do like to clean up the bottom to give them a little bit more of a sharper look, but again, I don't touch the top because I want that to be nice, soft, and fluffy. So I'm going to take my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Vanilla, and the brush is a Sigma E15. It's just like a flat shader brush. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that concealer, and I always start with the arch of the brow because that's where I want the most like sharpness to be, and I'll go right along the bottom and just clean it up. Especially, I have very like red veiny eyelids, and I feel like this just, I don't know, conceals and lifts the brow. So that's pretty much what I do for the brow. And here are the brows completed. I am gonna go ahead and do a full face of makeup, come back and show you the final step, which is brow gel. I like to do that at the very end of my makeup. So let me do that and I will be right back. Now that I look like a whole different person, we're gonna go in with our brow gel. This is the Morphe Micromanager. This is pretty much what I've been using. I'll sometimes use the Rare Beauty one, but this one gives me a better hold. So I like to do this at the end because if I get any powders or anything in my brows, I feel like this just removes it or like mixes with it. It gets rid of the look of powder in your brows essentially. So I do slightly fluff up the front, but then the rest of my brow is just gonna match my natural brow shape. And we don't do any crazy fluffing with this. It's, for the most part, it's just sticking to the natural shape we have going on top. Sometimes on the outer part, if they're a little bit more stubborn, I'll like back comb it just to get both sides of the hair. So we're kind of perfecting it, but it's also kind of fluffy, you know? It's a good mixture. And that is how I do my brows. I feel like they're nice and structured on the bottom, nice and fluffy on top. I feel like they're a little bit more dramatic. Compared to what I naturally have, they're definitely more dramatic. I love them. And I'll do this regardless of if I wear makeup or not. If I'm putting anything on my face, it's gonna be my brows. That is how I am currently doing them. Let me know if you're still doing the fluffy brow, the laminated look. Are you still getting your brows laminated? Like, what are we doing with the brows? Because anytime I try it now, I'm like, wow, that looks terrible on me. How did I do that for so many years? That is everything. I hope you learned something new, and let me know what you want to see next.